The bees are definitely out in full force, working hard today. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Wishwell Farms. I'm Jason. My dog Tassie and I are just out here doing our morning greenhouse checks. Everything looks good out here. Let's head down and take a look at the grape tomatoes next. I can tell the plants are starting to root in and take off down here. They've bushed out a little bit, gotten a little taller, and when I wiggle them around, they aren't pulling up out of the perlite bags. They are rooted in there pretty good, and we're getting real close to needing to trellis them up using the Florida weave. That's what all the steel T-posts are for. And I'll be showing that in an upcoming video coming very soon. All right, Tassie, let's go check the other greenhouse. This one looks good. Come on. What a beautiful day we have on our hands today. So nice to see the sunshine, but it is chilly. Take a look at my truck. Didn't expect to see that heavy of a frost this morning. It was 22 degrees. Okay, in here. The transplants are looking beautiful. They're getting set in the buckets tomorrow morning. So all these green plants you see in here will be out of here tomorrow morning and transplanted into the Dutch Beto buckets for our second tomato planting. Actually, it'll be our third planting if you count the grape tomatoes as planting number 2. So this is number 3, and I'll show you what number 4 looks like up here. Here's number 4. They'll be ready next week as well. These are the determinate tomatoes. Number 5. And then sometime this afternoon or tomorrow, I'll be seeding number 6. The basil all came up. Looks really good. Looks like perfect germination. Those are in 98 count pro trays, and they will be stepped up to 4-inch pots for retail sales. And over here are the bell peppers. The jalapenos are a little bit behind. I can see just a few starting to pop up. With today's sun, they'll probably all come up. The bell peppers are looking really good. A lot of them still working their way up through the soil right now. I would say sometime in the next 2 days, they should all be up. And this is the greenhouse that Emma and I will be working in today. This is our long greenhouse, 148 feet long, with 500 Dutch Beto buckets. So typically, we transplant 1,000 tomato plants in here. Tomorrow, we will only be transplanting these first 3 rows with those plants you just saw in the starter house. And then those shorter determinate plants that I said would be ready next week, they will be going in these 2 rows. Just 1 plant per bucket. Over here, they get 2 plants per bucket. So the first thing on the agenda today is to check all of these drippers and hoses and stakes to make sure everything is flowing and ready for plants tomorrow morning. I've already checked the fan jet, the heater, the exhaust fan, the louvers, everything works. We have brand new plastic on here that we just put up about 5 days ago. So as long as all these drippers are flowing, well, even if they aren't flowing, Emma and I will be fixing the ones that are plugged, and after this morning, they will all be flowing and ready for transplanting tomorrow morning. All right, I'm gonna go down to the other greenhouse, turn on the water, do one more flush in here before Emma arrives, and then we'll start checking drippers. And then one other little thing I forgot about is I need to bring in the perlite to top off all these buckets. We use our perlite for 2 seasons, and last season, this perlite was brand new, so it's only got 1 season on it. That's why it looks like they're about 2/3 of the way filled. After last season, we tore out the rock wool cubes, discarded them, and now I just need to top off with some fresh perlite, and then they will be ready to go for tomorrow morning. Good morning, it is the next day, and it's another big day here at Wishwell Farms as we will be transplanting our biggest greenhouse. We're going to be putting in 600 tomato plants in these first 3 rows, and then we will transplant the remaining 2 rows sometime next week. If everything goes according to plan, we should harvest over 12,000 pounds of tomatoes from this one greenhouse alone. All right, let's go grab some tomatoes, bring them over here, start transplanting, and I'm going to show you the entire process. This variety here is Big Dina. These plants are started in rock wool cubes, and we are placing them into Dutch Beto buckets full of perlite. So Emma levels off the bucket a little bit, grabs a plant, gives it a little wiggle in there, and then we're pushing down the bamboo stake a couple inches into the perlite to kind of anchor the cube in. So we're putting in 600 plants today. After we get all the plants set, we will come back and place the drippers into the cubes like that while the water is running, because we want to double check them to make sure they have good flow before we put them into the cube. On top of the buckets running down the middle there is the white feed line. And on top of that white line is a ½ gallon per hour woodpecker dripper. It's a pressure compensated drip emitter. I've heard in the comments that Emma has a green thumb. She literally has a green thumb today. There's a little bit of algae growing on these cubes, and your hands get green algae on them. I've often been told from people that the algae is not good, and it's not, but it will dry up and die as soon as we start watering them with these dripper stakes. Things are going pretty good. I just about have all the Big Dina planted, and I'm starting on Darrow. It's definitely not as easy setting them in the buckets and getting them seeded well when you're using last year's perlite, because there's only about a ½ inch to an inch of fresh perlite on top these buckets. We're setting these blocks in the opposite corners of last year's plants. That way there's a little more softer, loose perlite to wiggle these blocks into. You know, some hydroponic growers will completely bury these cubes. You'll take the wrapper off and bury them. We just like seating them down in there about a 1/4 inch. And we leave the wrapper on. We've never had an issue with anything. Some of these Ondero plants are so tall that they are leaning or drooping a little bit. You know, when you take them out of their nice, cozy environment, in the starter house, and bring them in here, you know, they get jostled around in a wagon and, you know, exposed to the 40-degree temps outside when we move them. But even if they do look a little droopy right now, they'll perk up overnight. I've seen them droop a lot worse than this, and they've always looked fine the next day. Sometimes we'll move this little ring clip up a little higher if they're drooping really bad. If you look on the bottom of one of these cubes, you can see that the roots have air pruned. Yeah, there's a few dangling off there, but for the most part, a majority of them have grown through the cube and hit air and then stopped, and they continue to fill up this cube. That's what we want. We don't want a great big mass of roots hanging from the bottom of this cube. If there were, we would just put the cube right on top of the roots. So in just a few short weeks, these plants will have their roots anchored all the way down into this bucket. You could grab these plants and lift that whole bucket right off the ground. That's how anchored in they would be. It's incredible, the root mass that comes from one tomato plant. All right, we're putting the drippers into the cubes now. This is what we want to see, a fast, constant drip. Put it straight up and down in the corner of the cube. So normally I'll have Emma or whoever's helping me do the other side, the buckets on her side, then I'll do the buckets on my side.
These are pretty lined up.
Yeah. This isn't just straight water. They are getting fed the nutrient solution from the main greenhouse. When we're testing everything, we'll just run straight water normally, but at this time of the year, you know, we have 2 greenhouses being fed every half hour, all day, every day. So we just flip the switch on for this greenhouse. So they are getting everything they need right now. And we'll probably water them or run the irrigation cycles probably twice as much as normal, just to make sure we get everything saturated and wet down, because this perlite's very dry and it wicks the moisture right out of these cubes. So we'll give them like a double amount of feed time today to make sure they don't dry out and to start wetting down that perlite. We will typically begin harvesting in here in early June, and we will terminate the crop around the second or third week of August. So approximately 10 weeks of harvest out of this greenhouse. So I often get asked in the comments, why in the world are we terminating these greenhouse tomatoes so early in the season? Why don't I continue harvesting them throughout the rest of August, all of September, October, and maybe even November? Well, I'm gonna give you 5 quick reasons why. Number 1, by mid-August, there are field tomatoes and garden tomatoes available that are grown in the soil. And our customers at farmers markets expect to have field tomatoes to purchase. So that's one of the main reasons that we quit growing in here and move into our own field tomatoes. The demand for hydroponic tomatoes drops to almost nothing. Number 2, by the 3rd or 4th week of August, I lose probably 2/3 of my workforce back to high school and college. And cleaning out these tomatoes from 4 greenhouses is quite the task. So I like to get it done before they all leave the farm and return back to school. Number 3, it can be difficult to grow a high quality greenhouse tomato during the heat of the summer. Now we do have some white shade cloths that we can cover some of our greenhouses with to reduce some of that heat stress, but we do deal with some splitting and cracking from time to time, and sometimes insect outbreaks. And it can just be plain miserable working in a hot greenhouse during August. Number 4, during July and August, we are in peak production out in our fields, and it takes a lot of hands to harvest and sell all of those crops. And like I mentioned already, sometimes these greenhouses just become an afterthought. And we need to focus all of our energy and attention on the crops that we are harvesting and selling, growing out in the fields. And because we also grow field tomatoes, these just aren't really needed anymore because the demand is for field tomatoes, not hydroponic tomatoes during August. And finally, number 5, raising greenhouse tomatoes is very expensive. Not only is the fertilizer very expensive, but the manual labor involved, the time and energy to maintain all these plants, and that is very expensive as well. So when we have field tomatoes that we can harvest that cost next to nothing to grow compared to these, it just makes sense to let these go and concentrate on our field tomatoes. Alrighty folks, that's a wrap on this video. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you all again next time down on the farm.